All right. Glad to have you here for the conversation today, as we always do. Air traffic control has been in the headlines a lot these past several days, especially during that 43-day mindless shutdown of the government, when air traffic controllers were expressing concern because their numbers were already light. Before the shutdown, if you missed these numbers, 3 or 4 air traffic controllers would retire or resign or whatever each day. It went up to 20 per day. And that might seem like a lot to you, but when we're already short 2,000 air traffic controllers, the thing that the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, is trying to fix, well, it creates a problem. Dana Furchtgott-Roth is with us, Director of the Center for Energy, Climate, and Environment, and the Herbert and Joyce Morgan Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Always good to see you here, Diana. Thank you for being here.
Great to be with you, Steve.
All right, so we have a problem. The Secretary of Transportation knows it. It was exacerbated by the ridiculous government shutdown when a whole lot more air traffic controllers resigned, somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple of hundred. We need to fix this. Now, they're trying to fast track people to get them into the job without cutting corners on the requirements. Where are we on this?
Well, I think that they are offering bonuses to air traffic controllers.
They are.
Who did not miss any days. But we have a more fundamental problem, Steve. I'm not sure if you noticed, but if you went through any of those restaurants in the airports, none of those restaurant workers were shut down. They all showed up. Why? Because they did not depend on government funding for their jobs. And we need to do the same thing for air traffic controllers, just as practically every other developed country does. They have an air traffic control system that's either private or a public-private partnership that is funded by user fees from tickets of people who fly.
Well, that's a good idea. Here's Diana, from the COVID years, here's something that I detested this term. Essential workers, non-essential workers. Who do you get to tell their job is non-essential? I would think that an air traffic controller is pretty essential to making this country move around. And for anybody that has one of those non-essential jobs, I can guarantee you in their house, that job's essential because it puts food on the table, makes a car payment, makes a mortgage payment. I hated that term. But if you're going to have such a thing, what's more essential than air traffic controllers in a country with tens of thousands of flights a day?
Well, the air traffic controllers were essential. The problem was they were not being paid because Congress shut down. So basically, our government told them to come into work, but they also said, we will not pay you. So some of them had to call in sick and take jobs on the side in order to pay rent, pay their mortgage, or pay groceries. So that's the fundamental problem. Not that they were not declared essential, but that our air traffic controllers depend on a flow of funds from Congress. And it's not just the flow of funds for Congress to stay there. We need more air traffic controllers. So more air traffic controllers. If you're a restaurant and you need more waiters, you advertise for more waiters and you choose and you hire more. If you're an air traffic control system, you need to wait for Congress to appropriate the funds, even though you have hundreds of thousands of more people going through the air and hundreds of thousands more flights.
Here's the obvious problem. I don't have to explain this to you, but for everybody listening, look. The Democrats would never agree to a public-private partnership. Oh, they're going to privatize air traffic controllers. Yeah, because it works in all these other countries. They don't care about that. They care about having more people in a government union than they care about the safety of people flying in airplanes in America. I'm sorry to say, but that's true. They care more about government unions and power and those unions that donate to their campaigns. That's what's wrong with the system.
Well, it's funny you should say that because the last privatization attempt in 2016 to move air traffic control to a private corporation did have the air traffic controllers staying in their same union. So it preserved the union. So, one of the reasons it didn't work was because some conservatives, such as myself, actually said that if it were private, these air traffic controllers should get to choose their union. They should not be put immediately in the union, or they should be able to choose not having a union at all. They should be able to choose to decertify.
I happen to be a big fan of the Right to Work Foundation and all the work they do. Yes. I think that a person does not have the requirement to join an organization that they don't agree with to go through something like that. If you want a job in America, Why should you be required to join a private organization, a union that you may not agree with, that's supporting candidates that you don't like with your money? I mean, it's just wrong. I mean, I know you can opt out of that, but the fact of the matter is you're still being in a group that's advocating for things you don't agree with. Right to work is an important thing, and I agree with you on that. Can we get
What's
there?
really amazing is that the National Labor Relations Board, it has a time, 3 weeks, that you have to vote to certify a union if there's a petition for a union. But if workers want to decertify a union, it's a lot more difficult. You don't just have 3 weeks. It can take months and months to be able to decertify the union, and you might not even be able to decertify the union.
And one more thing, Diana, if people miss this, these unions want to make your vote public. They don't want private voting anymore, so you can be harassed and bullied inside whatever place of employment you have. They want to make it not a secret ballot, don't they?
Exactly. Workers should be able to choose every year whether they want to join that union, choose another union, or not have any union at all. That's what I think.
I agree. Then again, I'm back to the Right to Work Foundation and all the work they do. I happen to live in the only state in America where right to work was taken away when the Democrats took power here. They got rid of right to work. Michigan's the only state that was a right to work state and then is not. And yeah, that's why Indiana and Ohio and Tennessee are eating our lunch every day for a variety of reasons. Anyhow, I'll give you the last word.
Well, the last word is that we should treat air traffic controllers like we treat any other private sector worker. We should have a flow of funds from people who fly. We shouldn't make taxpayers who don't fly subsidize air traffic control. We should treat it like a business the way our neighbors to the north, Canada, does. And they don't have any problem with these air traffic controllers calling in sick because they don't have a flow of funds from the government. We should treat it like any other business.
I could not possibly agree more. Common sense, it's still alive at the Heritage Foundation. Diana, thank you. All right, I'll take a break. What do you think about that? Send me an email, stevegruber.com. I read a lot of them on the air from time to time. We go to the mailbag on occasion here. We should maybe do it more, but send me an email, stevegruber.com. I'll be right back.